The timing?
The New York Jets and Woody Johnson have fired Coach Robert Saleh.
A bit peculiar.
During his time with the Jets, Robert Saleh went 20-36. Not only was that the third worst in the league over that span, it's the worst by a Jets head coach who spent at least 40 games with the team.
His record porous, don't get me wrong. The team not put together well at all. And let's be clear, General Manager Joe Douglas does not have a contract extension. We probably know why.
As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't.
Aaron Rodgers would deny speculation that he was involved. A tweet, though, that I resonate with was from Brian Floyd, who wrote, "The problem with Aaron Rodgers eroding his credibility over many years is that people flat out won't believe him when he actually needs them to." And it comes out of Aaron Rodgers' mouth, and in fact will reflexively believe the opposite, as in people will. And it's his own undoing, a fair and valid point. Chase Daniel, the king of backup quarterback contracts, current NFL and football analyst on Fox Sports 1, called Aaron Rodgers a coach killer, pointing to the following as he tweeted, "Mike McCarthy fired midseason 2018. Matt LaFleur completely changed the offense for Rodgers and are better now with Jordan Love running Matt LaFleur's offense. And Robert Saleh got 6 games. Fair points, but another."
You talked to the president lately at all? Or? You do talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
We focus now on this man.
Joining me now is Woody Johnson, former U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom and co-owner of the New York Jets,
who somehow curried enough favors to serve in Donald Trump's administration. To be clear,
when you look at the way the league handles investigations into these matters, the first thing they always do is they defer to whatever the law enforcement entity in question is, right? If someone gets in trouble with the police, a player, a team employee, an owner, the league will first let that process play out with regard to local law enforcement. Now we're talking about the U.S. State Department, and obviously, according to their statement, the league is going to wait and see what the U.S. State Department does before deciding whether to take any league action against a team owner. It's a tricky spot, obviously, for Commissioner Roger Goodell. He works for the owners, and we've seen in some recent years owners getting in some degree of trouble here and there, and some discussion that we've all had, obviously, about whether the league's gone far enough or as far as it would have gone with players in similar situations. So right now, early in this, the league's finding out about it. Will there be an investigation, a league investigation into Woody Johnson's behavior at some point? It's entirely possible.
And what would lead to an investigation? When Johnson left his role as co-owner of the Jets to be ambassador in the United Kingdom, a role that he took with zero foreign policy experience, it showed. Jeremy Shapiro of European Council on Foreign Relations, and he's based in London as well, told NJ.com, quote, "It's not a hard job. You mostly have to just smile and be entertaining. I think even by that standard, he hasn't done a particularly good job." Most notably, Johnson was seen as rude and came under fire when he filmed the Queen with his phone while stationed behind the Queen during a solemn D-Day speech. Then there was the bombshell report by CNN, which cited many sources, claiming that in 2018, ahead of an event held for Black History Month, Johnson was agitated and even asked, quote, if the audience would be a whole bunch of black people, from Jennifer Hansler, Kylie Atwood, and Nicole Gawat. 3 sources would say Johnson questioned why the black community would want a separate month to celebrate black history, even arguing black fathers didn't remain with their families, and that was the real challenge. One source said an official who heard the remarks was stunned, and that the incident was documented. Oh, there would be more. Johnson held meetings at an exclusive men's-only club in London, England, called appropriately Whites. Johnson was told to stop holding meetings because none of the embassy's female workers would be able to attend. I promise there's more. A source told CNN Johnson always commented on women's looks, reducing them to decorative objects in a way a source described as cringeworthy. It would go further. Two sources said the ambassador indicated he preferred working with women, but he suggested that was because women were cheaper and worked harder than men. A trio of sources noted Johnson was peeved with the thought of attending an event commemorating International Women's Day. One source said he asked why he had to do, quote, a feminist event. In the end, it never took place. Then, on the hopes he would do a gender-based violence event, Johnson allegedly said he was uninterested because he's, quote, not a woman. He is allegedly a conspiracy theorist, claiming the only way to rid the deep state in government was by getting Republicans in. He also, the piece makes clear, fired a well-respected diplomat because that person, former deputy chief of Mission Lewis, they would praise how former President Barack Obama handled the U.S.'s relationship with Senegal. Another bombshell story was the misuse of his role as ambassador, which, according to the New York Times, was seeing if the Brits in government could help steer the world-famous and lucrative British Open golf tournament to the Trump Turnberry Resort in Scotland. According to three people with knowledge of all this that went down, it didn't end up working out in their favor. It is noteworthy, as it pertains to Robert Saleh's firing, that Woody Johnson is a big-time supporter of Israel, posting this on his Instagram prior to Mitt Romney declaring his run for the presidency in 2012. He arranged a visit to the country. Woody Johnson would be invited to the trip and attend via NJ.com. 7 time zones away, their party dined with some of the country's prominent VCs, among them the head of Google Israel. They met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and Jerusalem Mayor, Nur Barkat. They visited a kibbutz near Gaza, where the threat of rocket attacks loomed. They celebrated Shabbat with an American family. And for the past 2 decades, at the time I believe this was 2011, they called Israel home. Johnson would reflect, beating New England and flying to Israel? I may have never had a better week his team would play and beat the Patriots. Fast forward to present day. Salah, prior to his team's game in London, where they got spanked by the Minnesota Vikings, he was photographed wearing a Lebanese flag. Recently, after pummeling Gaza and killing more than 42,000 people, Israel has now gone into Lebanon, claiming they are fighting Hezbollah, but the effects are clearly being felt. According to Al Jazeera, more than 2,100 people, most of them in the last 2 weeks, have been killed. They have also forced 1.2 million people from their homes, officials have reported. Again, that is via Al Jazeera. For Salah, both of his parents were born in Lebanon. They would immigrate to the United States in 1979 prior to Robert being born. Of note, he has worn the Lebanese flag numerous times over the years. He was the NFL's first Muslim American head coach when he was hired by the Jets in 2021. Still, there are many detractors. UFC champion Bilal Muhammad does not buy that the firing was random. There have been other media types as well that has weighed in, and honestly, I just have to say, and look, I'm being forthright, I'm being honest. I don't know. Do I think that the timing is odd? Hell yeah, of course. But in turn, he was already on the hot seat going into this year. Do I think that billionaires like Woody Johnson and Elon Musk have the biggest egos known to man, larger than our galaxy? Yeah, I do. Do I think that he could see the dynamics of the country he supports going up against Robert Saleh in a way, and he has a completely distorted view of reality and thinks, well, he can't keep this up. He screwed me. He's making me look bad. Yeah, I think that's very well possible. Do I think that Aaron Rodgers, by the way, on another note, has influence in that building? 1,000% yes. Yes. Because they've had the Brett Favres of the world. They have had the Aaron Rodgerses of the world. They are the New York Packers. They have had so many ex-Green Bay players, coaches, assistants on their squad. Who do you really think is pulling the strings here? Now, I understand that, Joe Douglas, Woody Johnson, his brother, will have the final say for the most part. But Aaron Rodgers does have a say. That one video that went viral on Twitter that everybody slowed down of him and Robert Saleh appearing peeved at one another, could that weigh into it? Maybe. But what I will say is this. The timing is bad. It's bad. But they also run a football team that is just awful. And that first line of defense when you want to wake up a team, whether it is right or wrong, is to fire the head coach. If he wasn't on the hot seat, if he had, let's say, a 500 record, and they fired him after this, it would be a little more odd. I would even bold odd in that sentence. But at this point in time, it is terrible timing, but it's also something that we kind of knew was going to happen. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.